to find the area of this irregular figure by finding the area of the rectangle. As you can see, it's right there. And we're going to add the area of a semicircle. When it's only half of the circle, we call it a semicircle. Yeah, but we're not measuring the angle measurement. We want the area, the space inside. But it is 180. Or if you're measuring that in radians, 2 pi. But that's something else. So let's find the area of the rectangle, which is, anyone remember? Base times height. Okay. So the area is going to be the base. Let's say 10 times the height, which is 6. We end up with 60 square units, whatever those may be. In square inches, square yards. So to that, we're going to add the area of a semicircle. So for the semicircle, what's the area of the circle? How do we find the area of a circle? Maybe behind me. We need to memorize these, by the way.
Times pi, or radius times 2 times pi.
Pi radius squared. But this is a semicircle. Divided by 2. That's the key. Since we only want half of it, divide your answer by 2. Okay. So this time we're going to use an estimated answer. So we are going to use an estimated number for pi, which in this case is 3.1415. And we're going to multiply that times the radius. Well, how much is the radius? The diameter is 6. This is also the diameter, right? And it's 6. But we want the radius, which I heard someone say 3. Yeah, the radius is 3. Remember, guys, the radius always goes from the center to the edge. If it goes across, we're looking at a diameter. If we want a radius, it goes from the center to the edge. So it's going to be 3 times 3. And then in the end, we're going to divide by 2. So this is what we want to do on our calculator. We're going to do 3.1415 times 3 times 3, and then divide that by 2. And write down all of those digits. So let's see. We want to round this to the nearest 10th, right? So this is going to be 60 plus, rounded to the nearest 10th, this is 14.1. So in the end, we get 74.1 of whatever units we're talking about. Okay. Okay. For our second one, we have almost the same thing. And if we want to figure out the rectangle, we're going to need area as base times height. Once again. Well, I know the base. How about the height? Well, okay, let's say it's 6.
No,
6
because
is,
6 is the radius.
yeah, 6 is the
So
radius.
times 2 is 12, which is the diameter.
Right. Yeah, remember, the radius also goes from here to here, which would be half of the height. So we want the full height, which is going to be 12. And this time our radius is 6. So for the semicircle, it's still going to be pi times radius squared divided by 2. And so we're going to do 3.1415 times 6 times 6, and then divide that by 2. Okay. So let's see what we get. Let's multiply 13 times 12. Okay. And now let's do 3.1415. Oops. Times 6 times 6 is 36, and then divide that by 2.
56.5.
56.5. Rounded. Okay.
212.5.
Okay, very good. Let's move on to this interesting shape. What's this composed of?
Semicircles and a square.
Semicircles and a square. How many semicircles?
4.
4. So 4 semicircles. Go ahead, Brian. Are you going to point something out or say something? Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 semicircles. How many full circles would that make? 2. So we can figure out the area of 1 square and 2 circles. And that's basically what we have here. Yes?
We could find the area of 1 circle and then just times the circle.
I think that's what we're going to do. Okay, let's do it. So we have a square. And then 2 circles. All right. Excuse me. Squares are actually easy. It's base times height, but what's the base and what's the height of a square?
14.
They're all equal, so it's 14 times 14. It's actually, to find the area of a square, you square the number. Yeah, so it's whatever length you get squared. So it's 14 times 14.
196.
How much again?
196.
196.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now let's get to the squares. We've got 2 of them, right? We're going to multiply 2 of them. And now the area of a square is pi times radius squared. So it's going to be 2 times 3.1415 times radius. What's our radius?
7.
7. Ah, good. Didn't get fooled. It's not 14, it's 7. Half of that, 14. So 7 times 7. Okay, so it's this, and then we're going to add it all together. So let's do that.
I got 307.9.
307.9 when we round it, yes. 307.9.
Times 2 is 600.
Well, we already did right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I did it all at once. So this is taking into account that we're going to do two circles. Okay, so
So added is 509.9. 503.9.
503.
0.9.
Okay. Let's try this one. You know what this reminds me of? Has anyone ever played badminton? Doesn't this look like they call it the little bird that you? Yeah. It reminds me of one of those. Well, we definitely have a semicircle. What's our other shapes or shape?
Oh, right triangle.
Maybe a right triangle and another right triangle and a rectangle. Ooh, that's a lot of shapes. Can I break it down to two? I mean, I can do the two.
Trapezoid.
Yeah, it's a trapezoid. Do you see it?
There's also semicircle.
And the semicircle. So we got trapezoid and a semicircle. Okay, so let's do the trapezoid first. And the formula for that, it's right behind me. Oh, I always forget this one. It's right there. We have to do the bases. Remember, we have two bases, base 1 plus base 2 times the height. And then we have to divide all of that by 2. Base 1 plus base 2, so you got to figure out that sum. Multiply it by the height and then divide it by 2. Let's do the semicircle. We know that one now. Pi r squared divided by 2. Okay. So let's figure out what we have. Do we have a base 1? Ah, we do. Do we have a base 2?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do we have a height?
Yes.
We have everything we need for the trapezoid. Here's what I like to do. Before I do anything else, I'm going to figure out base 1 plus base 2. What two numbers do I have to add for that? 10 and 4. So that's 14. And that's going to be 14. So that's going to go here. So we're going to do 14 times the height. What's my height again? 6. And then divide that by 2. Okay. So let's figure out that one. $42, thank you. And now let's do our semicircle. It's going to be pi 3.1415 times radius squared. What's my radius? 2, yes. Radius is 2. They're always giving us diameter, so be sure and square those. So that's 2 squared, so it's 2 times 2 or 4. And then divided by 2. What do we get there?
6.2. 6.3.
6.3, yeah. When we round it, 6.3. And so this is 48.3 square units, whatever units we're working. I want you to take a look at the last two, guys. What's unique about these?
There's a semicircle.
Yeah, I see semicircles, but do you see how they're located? Yes,
I feel like because they're kind of like indented.
they're indented. Yeah,
I feel like wouldn't you subtract instead of adding?
They
Yeah.
look like tickets.
yeah, they look like tickets. Yeah, and they are indented also, which means we're not adding this as more area. We're subtracting away that area. So here, these two we have to subtract area. In this case, semicircles or circles. Okay, so let's do it. Let's start with, if I have the full shape, right? What would the full shape be? Rectangle. Let's start with a rectangle. And then we're going to subtract a semicircle. Okay. So the area of the rectangle is fairly easy. 6 times 4. So that's going to be 24. And to that, we're going to subtract the area of a semicircle. So now let's take a look at our semicircle. We're going to need a radius. It's going to be 2. Transfer the 4 over here, but that's a diameter. So the radius is going to be 2. Yeah, you transfer this 4 length over here. That's 4. But then we need a radius, which is half of that. So it's going to be 2. Okay, so this is going to be pi, which is 3.1415 times 2 squared. So that's 2 times 2. And then divided by 2. 6.3.
Isn't it technically like the same area as the semicircle above?
Because it has the same diameter and the same radius. So we have 24 minus 6.3.
13.7.
What is it?
13.7.
17.7. Okay. Good. We're almost done. Last one. Take a look at this one.
Can we just like minus one circle, a full circle instead of semicircle?
What do you guys think? Should we just subtract away a full circle? Yeah. Because there's a semicircle indentation on both ends of this rectangle. So you're really subtracting a circle. So it looks like we have a rectangle minus a circle. So this would be 16 times 4.
64.
Minus the circle, pi radius squared, so 3.1415. And what's my radius? 2 again.
Should we just get it from the area?
Well, no, because it has to be double that. But we could do that. 12.6. Let's test it out, make sure it works. In theory, it should be double this, right? So let's try 3.1415 times 2 times 2. Is it 12.6? Test it out. Maybe your intuition is right on that. 12.6. So 64 take away 12.6. What do we get?
51.4.
Could you repeat that again?
51.4.
51.4. There we go. Okay. So on today's assignment on Delta Math, we're going to practice finding the area of irregular shapes.